A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. Mexico City. In a surprising turn of events, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed her enthusiasm for Sunday's historic judicial elections, labeling them as marvelous and extraordinary. However, the reality of the situation revealed a stark contrast, as only approximately 13% of the 100 million eligible voters participated in the elections. This turnout was significantly lower than the 61% seen in last year's national elections, which saw Sheinbaum and her Morena political bloc achieve a landslide victory. The president had urged citizens to vote, framing the elections as a pivotal part of her party's ongoing transformation of Mexican society. Critics, including Jorge Romero, the national leader of the National Action Party, dismissed the elections as a festival of voter fraud, criticizing the low turnout and calling it an embarrassment for the ruling party. The disappointing participation rate was attributed to several factors, including the fact that it was an off-year election, the convoluted voting process, and the unfamiliarity of most candidates among the electorate. With over 7,000 candidates vying for 881 federal judge positions and another 1,800 state jurist posts, many voters found themselves overwhelmed and uninformed about their options. This election marked a historic moment for Mexico, as it was the first time the public had the opportunity to vote for judges, a role that has traditionally been filled through appointments by expert panels or the president. Despite the nonpartisan nature of the election, where candidates were not identified by political affiliation and were prohibited from receiving party funds, the lack of massive rallies or advertising campaigns contributed to the low visibility of the election. Political observers noted that the turnout was far below even the lowest pre-election estimates. Kenneth F. Green, a professor of government at the University of Texas at Austin, remarked on the daunting task voters faced in trying to learn about so many candidates. The opposition seized the opportunity to criticize the ruling party, branding the day as Black Sunday, and suggesting it marked the end of judicial independence in Mexico. Columnist Denise Dresser likened the election to a gala event that nobody attended, highlighting the disconnect between the government's expectations and the reality of voter engagement. As the dust settles from the elections, many are left wondering what the implications of such low turnout will be on the judiciary's composition. Experts believe that despite the opposition's plans to file complaints with the Organization of American States, the final results will likely favor pro-Morena judges, further consolidating power for President Sheinbaum. This election, while intended to reform the judicial system, has raised concerns about the future of checks and balances in Mexican governance. The most scrutinized aspect of the elections was the selection of new Supreme Court judges, as the court will now have fewer judges and diminished authority to challenge legislative and presidential decisions. With many Mexicans agreeing on the need for judicial reform, the question remains whether the newly elected judges will bring about the desired improvements. Critics point out that the judicial reform only addressed judges and failed to tackle the corruption prevalent in other areas of the justice system, such as district attorneys' offices and local police. The National Guard has been utilized as a primary law enforcement agency, but it has faced its own scandals, raising further questions about the overall integrity of the justice system. Political scientist Alejandro Montsevicarillo characterized the election as a political humiliation, yet noted that the control of public powers by the ruling party continues unabated. As the final results of the election are awaited, the implications for Mexico's judicial landscape and the balance of power within the government remain uncertain. In the wake of this historic election, the future of Mexico's judiciary and the effectiveness of its reforms will be closely watched by both supporters and critics of the current administration. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.